Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Renaissance. All of these pictures in this video do not belong to me. All of these pictures belong to the original owner. If you like these types of videos, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with all of your friends. It's completely free and you can always change your mind next time. Here I put a units of study timeline just to show you where the Renaissance really started. And the Renaissance started in the 1300s and it lasted until the 1600s, but all the ideas still go up to all the way to the 1800s to the Enlightenment periods. And you can kind of see how really the Renaissance started everything. So I like to think of it as the roots to the Reformation, Exploration, and the Scientific Revolution. They're all really important time periods, and I think that because of the Renaissance, the Reformation, the Exploration, Scientific Revolution was able to be successful, and we can be we can be studying about it today and talking about how it really was an important aspect, that the roots that it sowed, the seeds that it sowed, are still growing today, which means whatever happened in the Renaissance is still influential to what is happening in today's world. What was the Renaissance? The Renaissance means rebirth, and specifically to the 13th and 6th through 16th centuries, which is exactly 300 years. And it was a rebirth in art, literature, and learning. I bolded the word art over here because a lot of famous paintings were painted during this time period, like the Mona Lisa over here, the Last Supper, the School of Athens, and so many more paintings that really everyone loves and still admires to this day. The Renaissance emphasized reasoning, questioning, and experimentation, and it's based on classical Greek and Roman ideas. It began in Italy and it spread all through Europe. You can kind of see this diagram here of this flower plant that I was talking about before. This shows in a little different way than I was speaking about before, but this is a diagram of really what the Renaissance was about. So the Renaissance started in Europe. It started in Italy and moved throughout Europe. So Europe really was the dirt or the soil, really where everything started. And the medieval and classical time periods are the roots, because really that's what really influenced the Renaissance to actually happen. So those time periods really were really influential. So those are the roots of the Renaissance. And then the sapling, the stem, and the leaves are the Renaissance, which is where it starts growing. And then when the real plant starts growing, which is the flowers and these other types of leaves up here, this is learning and art. Like I said before, art was such a really big thing that happened during this time, and I think that like I said before, the Mona Lisa, a painting everybody knows about the Mona Lisa today. The Last Supper, it's very famous, and so is the School of Athens. So really, the Renaissance emphasized a lot about art and learning and like that. Obviously, a plant needs water, sunlight, and other things to help it grow. So over here, you can kind of see the this fertilizer type thing. I think that's fertilizer, more soil, and that is the growth of city-states. That's where in this diagram, you can kind of see um, that all of these different city states here and these growth really impacted the Renaissance. So did travel and commerce. And a big thing about the Renaissance is the idea or the philosophy of humanism. Humanism is one of the biggest things about the Renaissance. And like if you were to think about the Renaissance, and the first thing that would come to you is humanism. That should be the first word that comes to you because humanism was so important during that time period. It really emphasized like the capability of a human being. What can a human being do? What can a human being do to really like be more successful or do other things by themselves, not like depending upon anything else. Now, moving on to the growth of city states, a little bit more depth into that. This was the major Italian city states during the Renaissance. And over here it says Italy's location made a perfect crossroads for trade between Europe and Asia, which began to increase at the time. This growth of trade and commerce created prosperous cities and classes of people with enough wealth to support education and the arts. So you can see the major city states that we know about still today. We have Rome, Florence, Milan, Padua, Venice, all of those really famous ones still today. And we have those minor city states in the pink over here. Now moving on to humanism. Humanism is a philosophy that emphasized humans to believe in critical thinking and emphasizing classical knowledge. And really more depth into that is about individualism, classism, and secularism. Individualism is glorifying potential, talents, and accomplishments of human beings, which is like, oh, this guy can paint these beautiful pictures and is also a very successful banker, like that. So that is like glorifying potential, talents, and accomplishments of human beings. Classism is rediscovery and appreciation of ancient Greek and Roman culture. Like I said before, over here, the Renaissance is based on classical Greek and Roman ideas. Secularism is emphasis of this world, here and now, and this material pleasures rather than afterlife or spiritual world. So really that's basically all of like the different sets of humanism and all of those different parts, especially individualism. That's like at the top. That's basically exactly what humanism is basically about, glorifying somebody's potential and their talents and their belief in critical thinking, classical knowledge, and their accomplishments, glorifying potential talents of human beings. A family who really showed humanism is the Medici family. The Medici family is a huge influence on the Italian Renaissance. They were huge patrons of art. They like sponsored so many people saying, "We're gonna buy your art. You're gonna make a statue of us." They were huge patrons. They loved art, and they really showed the philosophy of humanism. The Medici family were wool merchants and bankers, and they were very successful and very wealthy, which is why we still know them today. Another thing that also glorifies humanism is the invention of the printing press. The printing press, it looks like this. It's quite very cool. The printing press is a machine from the 1430s, invented by Johannes Gutenberg. And he invented this machine to give people access to having inexpensive books. The printing press is a machine that prints works of literature like books, magazines, and newspapers. The connection to humanism is Johannes Gutenberg invented this important. Johannes Gutenberg's invention is important because he used critical thinking to invent something that can benefit society. This is what Johannes Gutenberg looks like. And I don't really know how to use a printing press, but I assume this is where the letters are, and you press on the paper and it'll make copies. It's kind of like a copy machine, what we have today, or a real printer, what we have today. Another example of glorifying humanism is a Renaissance man. So, being a Renaissance man or woman is a person who has many talents and had accomplished many events in their career. They are skilled in many areas, for example, art, engineering, and literature. So, I'm going to show you a few examples of Renaissance men, and basically what they did to become a Renaissance man. There are people who are Renaissance men today, who have many different talents, who are very wealthy, who are very skilled, and has accomplished many tasks, many events in their career. They are skilled in many areas, and really anybody can be a Renaissance man. Here are some examples. This is Michelangelo, and this is his sculpture of the La Pieta. It's a very famous sculpture, and he is a Renaissance man because he has painted and done a bunch of different sculptures and a bunch of different other things that really glorified all of his talents and potentials and stuff like that. Then we have the one and only William Shakespeare. He's a poet. One of his famous sonnets are sonnet number 18, Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day? What a wonderful poem. He's also an actor, a playwright, a person who writes plays. So he's a very successful person. He wrote a lot of different things, and his work is very good. Then we have the one and the only Leonardo da Vinci. He made a bunch of different paintings. He also was very fascinated about math and science, and he made a bunch of different inventions, which really led to him becoming a Renaissance man. Let's review what we just did, because we just talked about a lot of different things. We talked about examples of Renaissance man and really what makes a Renaissance man. We talked about different examples of humanism. We talked about humanism and the different sets of humanism: individualism, classism, and secularism. We talked about how the Renaissance and everything made a contribution towards the Renaissance, like the growth of city-states, humanism, travel and commerce, the medieval and classical time periods. We also talked about the what is the Renaissance and basically what is it based off of. And we talked about when the Renaissance took place. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!